All right, so this is kind of the tool area for our stall cleaning. So you'll come in here, grab yourself a rake, grab a wheelbarrow, and then we'll head into the stall. So when I first come up to a stall, I like taking the wheelbarrow and putting it right up to the edge. Either way is fine. This is a kind of a crazy slant here, but it works. So when we come into the stall, I like to take the edges back a little bit first, and then we're always working to a wall somewhere. That's the best way to go about it. So we're going to take some here. Got to be careful for the mats. Take some, push it to the wall, and then work it into the wall. Go back, take some more, work it into the wall. And so what'll happen is there's not a ton of manure in this stall, but the manure will fall down this hill and fall back to a spot where you can pick it easy. And then the other thing that I'll do is if there's some obvious manure piles, like that's a fresh one right there. A lot of times I'll just go down here, get right under that right away before it gets all mixed up. And that helps from getting the little pieces of debris everywhere, so that's a good tip. All right, so one of the most important pieces of cleaning stalls is removing moisture. So you can see here, you've got a pee spot where the horse peed there, and now there's wet shavings, and that creates all sorts of health issues, abscesses, all kinds of things. So we want to get that taken care of. So I'm going to kind of scoop back around this here and isolate that spot. So you can see now that this is all fine shavings, but this is that isolated wet spot. And then we're just going to come right in here, and we're going to scoop all that up and throw that away. So that will get rid of that wet spot. And then the nice part is about having horses outside all day and not putting shavings in right away is that is going to get a chance to dry all day and let that smell out, let the moisture out, and make for some healthier horses. All right, so we're cleaning the stall out here. You can see removing all the shavings in the whole stall. So we're making big sweeping passes, removing all the shavings. And over here, you can see we uncovered a hidden wet spot. So this got covered up by some new shavings. A lot of things could have happened, so you can see that's wet down in there. So we're doing the same thing. Pull away, you can see, look at that, there's some more wet stuff there. Pull away on this edge a little bit, figure out where the edge of the wet spot is. So it seems like that's the isolated area there. Come in here, sweep that all up, get it out of here. We don't need the moisture in here. There's a little bit more discolored stuff. Take that too, get it out of here. And then we can continue to work around our stall. But another key thing is we want to turn over all these shavings. We want to move all the shavings in this stall because a lot of times there will be hidden stuff like that. And that's just as bad as that pee spot from earlier. All right, so as you guys can see, we have all the shavings pushed to the walls. So you can see the mats are clear. It's crucial. You want to make sure there's no moisture like those hidden ones that we found earlier. So now we've got it up against the wall. We picked through it. And sometimes you'll come around this edge, and I want anything that can fit in your tines, we're taking out. So we go around the edge, and you'll see some of the stuff that fell down. We want you guys really sifting. You shouldn't be getting done with the stall in 2 or 3 minutes. It should take you a little bit of time, but because we're doing it right. And you'll go around. We really want you sifting through some of this stuff and getting these smaller particles out of here. So we're taking that stuff out. We got this one pretty cleaned already. So now we're going to talk about dispersing these shavings back out. We really want to make these shavings last. We care about the quality and health for horses, but we also need to make these shavings last because this is the most expensive input in our business right now, is putting shavings in stalls. So we need to be very conscious of using the shavings to the best of our ability. So we'll come in here and we'll start taking off the edge of the wall. We'll disperse it, and you will find stuff. I know it's annoying, but you will find more stuff to pick as you pull down. That's fine. Just take the time to pick it. But we're going to pull out off the wall here. You can see the shavings look pretty clean. No real big particles in there. And so what we're trying to do is the high impact area for the horse, where they're going to be, where they need the cushioning, is in this back part of the stall here. We're going to pull down probably about a good quarter of the way into the stall. So about like right in here is where we're going to be pulled back to, because there's no reason to have shavings over here. They're never standing over here. They're eating there. and any manure or pee is going to be back there. So we don't need anything up here. We also don't want them eating in their shavings necessarily. So you can see up here, you got quite a bit of waste hay. And so a lot of this is still pretty good. So what I like to do is I'll take it and I'll lightly go over the shavings. We don't want to get shavings in the hay. So I'll just kind of lightly come over. We'll push up all this hay back into the corner, and we'll let him feed on that again here when they come back in the stall this evening. But you'll rake that up as good as you can. And then there'll be a little bit of waste that you can go ahead and take out in the stall. But that's how we do it. We just want to make sure that we're taking these shavings and dispersing them across this high impact area back here. So that's what it looks like, and you can noticeably feel how much more cushion you have back here, and this is where it's really important. So you can see we have it pulled back, and just the important part of the stall has shavings. All right, so now it's time. We're going to pull back shavings on the edge here. Good pull back on that. Make sure you get that nice and clear there. A little extra hay there. Go up that way. Okay, so we're all good and pulled back, and now this is the most crucial part, is assessing the job that you just did. So if you take a look here, I like to use the tines. It goes into the tines a good couple inches. You can pull back there, you can see there's a good bedding there. It's not a thin layer, there's a thick layer. The thick layer of bedding there, probably up to my knuckle about. That's right where we want it here. And so the other thing that I'll talk about is assessing if you need to add shavings. So this stall, because of where that level's at there, on the tines, my knuckle, we know that this is good. This to me feels like a good 2.5, maybe 3 bags of shavings in here is what this feels like right now. So there is no need to add any shavings in this. And it's still good and dry, looks clean. So this stall, I am confidently able to say is done, and we do not need to add shavings to it. All right, so now we know that we just did a good quality job on this stall. We're gonna take our wheelbarrow, we're gonna pull it away. And so it's not a problem, but you'll notice that we made a little bit of a mess around here. It doesn't all hit the wheelbarrow when you're throwing it. But if you leave it around this door will get gummed up, you won't be able to close it right. So making sure that you get in here and you kind of just pull all this away, you get it out away from the stall as much as possible. So that'll make sure that this door can close nice and it's clean. And then when we rake and clean aisles, we'll get that stuff that we pulled away. Okay, so now we've got a wheelbarrow of stuff. Usually I can fit 2 or 3 stalls in here if you're picking good and not picking up too many shavings. So when your wheelbarrow is full, what you'll do is you'll head to the dump trailer in the winter that's inside. And then in the summer, we'll be dumping outside, obviously. But come around here. We've got a ramp for you. Please come right up with the wheelbarrow. Zip it over. You can dump your shavings in, and then as this pile grows, when you dump your wheelbarrow, we expect that you take a shovel and push up on the pile so it doesn't taper off too much. All right, so now we're standing here at the shaving station, and we're gonna pretend like we had a stall that needs some maintenance. So it got a little low on shavings on us, we need to add some. So I grabbed a bag here, we're over on the south wall. We've got a shaving station here, and we've got one that we'll be setting up over in the northeast corner, so if you're on that north wall, you can easily grab some shavings there. But I got my bag here, and if I was walking up to the stall, like that I wanted to add, so I just cleaned this, and it gotten a little low, and all the horses are outside, obviously. I'm going to set this bag right here, and PM shift is going to put that in, and what that's going to do is that's going to allow for that moisture in there to dry out, if there's any, and then also just, we don't need to put shavings in there if there's not a horse in there. So PM shift, or if one of the girls comes in with their horse at noon and puts them in there for a little bit, they'll put those shavings out. But in the morning here, we're just going to set the shavings there. All right, so now we're going to pretend like I'm here on the PM shift. So we got here, we're going to bring horses in, and I see that the morning shift left me a bag of shavings here. The stall must have needed some shavings. So the first thing I would do is take a peek in here, say, okay, yeah, this one does look low. We should probably add these shavings. Then we'll come in, and we'll rip this bag open and disperse the shavings in the middle of the stall and fluff them a little bit, and then analyze the stall again and make sure it's where we want it with that depth that we talked about earlier, and then you're good to go and put a horse in there. And one other thing that I want to add is when we have the bags to discard after we've dumped the shavings out, they'll all go to the front and we'll make a pile up there, and then on our way out at night, we'll take them out to the dumpster on the north side of the building. Okay, so now we're going to talk about scraping stalls. So I don't want you guys scraping any stalls unless you are told by one of us to, because with the way that we're maintaining and adding shavings periodically, we really shouldn't have a need to discard all the shavings in the stall at one time if we're cleaning them correctly. But in the case that a horse leaves, or we have some circumstance where we want to scrape a stall completely to nothing, what we expect as a standard is we will start with 2 bags of shavings going into the stall. And we'll go in and we'll spread them out, fluff them like we normally do, pull back from the edge, and then we'll go and assess like we did earlier in the video with either the tines on our rakes or with our finger, and just make sure that we're where we want to be depth-wise on the shavings, and then if we need to add a little more we can. But most of these 12 by 12 stalls, 2 bags is plenty to get yourself a good bedding when we're starting from scratch. But again, we don't expect you guys to be scraping any stalls unless I tell you to or somebody else informs you to do so. So that's where we stand on the scraping. So a key points overview of what we talked about today is, first off, when you enter a stall, we want to go through all of the shavings in that stall. All those shavings need to be moved. We are picking and sifting. We're not just picking. We're going through everything. We want to turn it over, find that hidden moisture, pick up all the chunks of manure, and get that stall completely turned over. That is crucial. And then once we get that done, we can go ahead and disperse that with pulling back the edges. That's an important part. We don't need shavings where they're not going to get used, and so having those edges pulled back is key to help conserve our shavings usage a little bit. And then when we analyze the shavings, and if it's an adequate amount, what we're going with is a couple inches up on those tines, or about your knuckle on your finger. If you are looking at the shavings, that's how you can analyze that we have a good bedding thickness in our stalls. And then finally, if you do need to add shavings, we're going to put them outside the stall just like that for the PM shift to then distribute. And if we do have to scrape a stall under some circumstance, we'll be putting 2 bags of shavings into a fully scraped stall. So if you guys ever have any questions, feel free to ask me, ask another staff member at the barn. But that is how we are going to go about cleaning our stalls so we can maintain a healthy horse herd.